Life is full of challenges, hills and valleys, highs and lows, trials and triumphs. Lots of challenges, but it's the challenges that make us stronger in life. Check this out, Psalm 24, verse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check this out. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. The world and all its people belong to him. For he laid the earth's foundation on the seas and built it on the ocean depths. Who may climb the mountain of the Lord? Who may stand in his holy place? Who is able to climb the mountain of the Lord? And it just said, who is it? The question is, who is it? Are you able to climb the mountain of the Lord? The question is this: who wants to go beyond just the beginning stages of a relationship with God? Who wants to go beyond just a shallow relationship with the Lord? Who wants to have more than just an infant relationship or an infant walk? Who wants to go beyond being a baby Christian? Who wants to be mature in their walk and be blessed in their walk and blessed in their relationship with God? Verse 4 tells us how. Only those whose hands and hearts are pure, who do not worship idols and never tell lies. They will receive the Lord's blessing and have a right relationship with God, their Savior. Now notice it didn't say you had to be perfect. That's not what it's saying. It's not what the psalmist means here. It's not the fact that you have to be perfect. It's the one who climbs is the one who can get to the top of the mountain. You have to climb to get to the top, right? If you want the blessing, you got to climb. A climber is someone who wants a deeper relationship with God. Moses climbed Mount Sinai, and at the top of that mountain, he got his assignment. Would you like God to give you your assignment? Elijah climbed Mount Carmel. He prayed, and fire fell down. Do you need the fire of heaven to fall down in your situation right now? Peter, James, and John climbed a high mountain, and they saw the glory of the Lord. Do you need to see the glory of the Lord today? See, it's your life and your purpose and your calling that's not just to arrive, but it's to climb. You are to climb, not just arrive. Do you feel like you've just arrived, or are you climbing? Get real this morning. Because there's three types of people in this world. Just three. Not four, not five, not six. There's three. And everybody in here, you fall in one of these three. We have quitters, campers, and climbers. Quitters, campers, and climbers. Let's talk about quitters first. Quitters. Quitters they take a few steps up and they see, oh, I've got a lot of work to do. Not me. I ain't doing that. I'm out. Quitters see work and they say no because they start to feel worried about work and like, I'm not going to work. Your biblical example of a quitter is when the Israelites, they get all the way up to the parting of the Red Sea. And if you don't know the story, Moses is not part of the Red Sea yet. They get right up to it. They're almost free. And they turn around and they start complaining to Moses. And they say, can't we just go back? Like it wasn't that bad being slaves and being beaten all the time and having no future. Let's just go back to that. See, that's what a quitter says. I want to go back to being average or below average is what I want. I want to go back to Egypt. I want to quit on God. I want to quit on the goals that God has for my life. I want to quit on the people that are relying on me to step forward. A quitter is someone who leads a compromised life. They will compromise on their values. They'll compromise on what they believe in. A quitter is someone who craves instant gratification. They want everything to happen really, really quick. And if it doesn't, they'll quit. Quitters make excuses. They give in to resistance. They opt out. They drop out because they want the easy way out. That's what a quitter is. Quitters are often bitter. They're angry. They're offended and usually depressed about something. Quitters live in fear of failure all the time. The reason why they won't move forward is they're afraid they're going to fail and be embarrassed because they live for other people's opinions. Quitters are overthinkers. They think about things way too much and they never move, and they talk themselves out of moving forward. And so they have a hard time making a decision about anything. Quitters do just enough to get by. And you can actually hear them say that sometimes. Well, we just need to do just enough. We don't have to do all of that. We don't have to go the extra mile. Why do that? Why exert that kind of energy? Quitters, not only do they just want to do just enough, they have little or no ambition, and they criticize everybody who has any ambition. Quitters are jealous and envious of people who are having any type of success in their life. Whether they know them or not, they will judge them, talk about them, and gossip about them behind their back. Quitters, they say stuff like this: it can't be done. It won't be done. It's impossible. We've always done it this way. Who cares if we actually do that? It's not worth it to do that. And quitters, whenever things start to change, the way they react to change is they're going to fight change or flight. They'll fight it because they don't want the change, because it means they're going to have to do some work. Or they'll just run away. They'll just run away and quit because that's what they're used to doing, because it's become a habit. Quitters don't understand this principle, that change is inevitable. It's inevitable, but growth is optional. Change is inevitable. Growth is optional. Quitters lack vision and faith in God. That's what they lack. So when the going gets tough, quitters give up. Let me say it again. When the going gets tough, quitters throw in the towel and just give up. Here's the thing. When you quit, you lose a little bit of accountability. You lose a little bit of authenticity. You lose your commitment. And you lose some respect when you quit. So don't be a quitter. Get up, look up, and move up. So we got quitters. Then we got campers. Campers. Oh, look here, found me a chair. I'm just going to camp right here on this nice little chair. I got campers. Campers, here's what a biblical example of a camper is the Israelites. When they were in the wilderness for 40 years. Not 40 minutes, because some of you wouldn't last 40 minutes. Not even 40 days. 40 years. But after 40 years, they got pretty satisfied with what God was providing at that moment. They kind of actually got really comfortable with it. They kind of liked wandering around and having no purpose. They got comfortable, which is what a camper does. A camper finds a spot that they kind of like and gets comfortable, and they might have climbed up just a little bit. They actually took some effort. They got up somewhere. It's not to their full potential. It's not where God's calling them to go, but they found a spot a little bit lower than that. They sweat just a little bit, but now they've gotten allergic to sweat. Because I don't want to sweat anymore, because I just sit right here and I'll just camp my little tush right here. This is where I'm going to be. Campers have seen some success, but they've lost their desire to push on, to see higher and better things. That's what campers do. So here's the thing. If success has diminished your desire to keep climbing, you won't be successful for very long. Here's what campers get comfortable in their marriages. No amens there, no amens. Campers get really comfortable in their walk with God. I'm just going to go to church today. Growth track, are you doing on growth track? No, I just want to come and clap my hands and go home, right? A camper gets real comfortable at their job. I'll just do the bare minimum just so I don't get fired, right? I'm not going to quit but I just want to be average. That's what a camper does. A camper gets comfortable with being comfortable. They get married to being comfortable. They get married to the position that they're in. And if you ever suggest anything of going up a little bit higher and a little bit farther, even if you get them to the edge and they start thinking about it, they look backwards and go, oh yeah, but that's my chair and that's my table. I got my bottle of water. I'm happy with being average. Because they live in fear of losing everything. So if you're somebody, as soon as you get a little push, you get a little bit encouraged, you might even hear a word or something that motivates you, and you go, yeah, but what if this doesn't work out? I'll lose everything. You're a camper. And their language is like this. Here's a camper. That's good enough. It's good enough. We've gone far enough. We've gone long enough. We should probably stop. A lot of church people get like this. Well, Pastor Justin, we've reached enough people now. Why would we need to reach anybody else? Can't you see we got the seats about full? We've got enough, right? Because a camper likes comfort. And if you push them out of their comfort zone, they will push back. Here's another thing a camper will say. Yeah, you want me to do that? Someone else will do that. I'm sure somebody else will step up, not me. I'm comfortable camping over here in my seat, right? Here's another phrase I hear campers say. How you doing? Well, I'm doing better than most. What kind of phrase is that? Campers are okay with change as long as it doesn't affect their comfort zone. So you can change stuff all you want as long as it don't touch any of this right here. You change that, you change their stuff. Don't you change any of this. Then we're going to have a fight, right? So here's what happens with campers. They stop short of learning, growing, and achieving what God has called them to do. When the going gets tough, campers cower down. When the going gets tough, a quitter just quits. But a camper will back away. Ooh, I don't like this. And here's the other thing about campers. They like to hang out with other campers, right? So if you get a camper on your team, you're going to get some more campers. Now you got a fight on your hand. Anytime you try to do anything that God's calling you to do, the group of campers will go, we should not do that because it's going to mess up our campsite. And we don't want anybody else in this campsite. It can only hold us. Us is what campers say. Us versus them. It's just for us. It's comfortable for people like us. Oh, you don't think like us? Well, you can't come to our campsite. This is our campsite. These are our friends and our chairs, right? You got your own chair. You can't bring it over here. It's not the same chair. It's not the same. You can't bring that chair over here. No. You spend how much money? I don't care. You can't come over here. Let me say this to you. Don't let your campground become your permanent address. It's okay to come camp to get a rest. It's not okay to camp and make this your lifestyle. So you got to fold up your tent, pack up your talents, and you got to move up higher because God's not calling you to be a quitter. God's not calling you to be a camper. God is calling you and all of you to be a climber. That's what He's calling you to do. Climbers, a biblical example of a climber. It's an awesome story. If you haven't read it, you guys got to read it. It's by a gentleman named Caleb. It's not Caleb right here that was playing the piano. Caleb and Joshua were the two spies that went ahead and checked out the land. If you guys can go back and read it in the Old Testament. So anyways, they check out the land. Y'all have to hear this story. It's so cool. So they go check out the land, and all the rest of them went. There was a group of them that went, and Caleb and Joshua were like, hey, y'all, we can do this. We can take these people. They're giants, but we got them. They're in the land. They're bigger than us. They're probably stronger than us, but God is with us, and we can take them. And so Caleb, 40 years after this, comes to Joshua, who is now the leader, and he says, listen, Joshua, you remember 40 years ago you and I went and did that? Moses said when we came back that I'm going to have some land, and I want this land over here. And I know there's people in it. There's some big, huge giants that are over here in this land, but I'm 85 years old, and I still can fight like I used to back then. I am not scared of them one bit. None. Let me have that land, because if God is with me, He will let me take those people and take that land, is what he says. He says, I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to give up on God. He gave me a promise. Even if it's 40 years later, I won't give up on Him. I'm not going to camp and get comfortable down there going, well, I guess this is all God has for me. No, I'm going to press on. That's what climbers do. Climbers are possibility thinkers. There's always a possibility. Climbers don't say never. Climbers see potential in situations. Regardless of age, regardless of race, regardless of ability, regardless of disability, regardless of background, regardless of situation and circumstance, nothing can stop a climber. Because they know this: setbacks are a part of the climb. That's just part of it. You can expect things to happen when you're climbing the mountain that God has called you to climb. They're going to slow things down a little bit. Because every time you're following God, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a challenge. And climbers know that. Climbers look at obstacles as opportunities. Climbers look at the glass as half full. They see a bend in the road, but it isn't the end of the road for a climber. Climbers understand that adversity is a part of life, and by avoiding adversity, you're avoiding life. Yeah, a climber's going to climb, and they're going to get hurt. Yes, they're going to get bruised. They might even get cut a little bit here and there, but they get over it. That's what a climber does. And a climber is going to say no to the plateau. I'm not going to stand there on that easy ground. I might stop there and get a drink of water, but I got to keep moving. No to the plateau. Yes, I'm tired. You know what? They may have to camp out just for a little bit to regain their strength, but it's only a temporary stay to the climber. Their focus is on the destination, the dream, the purpose, and the calling that God has put on their life. Climbers embrace challenges and live with a sense of urgency. Even when their back's against the wall, they smile. That's a climber. Climbers are catalysts for action. They're the ones you want to call on if you want to see something happen. You call a climber. You don't call a camper, and you certainly don't call a quitter. You call a climber. Climbers are content, but never satisfied. Climbers thank God and are grateful every day for the breath they have in their lungs, but they know God has more for them, so they're never satisfied. Their language is this: do the right thing. No matter what it takes. Do the right thing. Take the high ground. Do your best. Whatever it takes. And there's always a way to a climber. Always a way. The motto of the climber is this: lead, follow, or get out of my way. Because God has called me to do something greater. And if you're not going to climb with me, you best get out the way. Retire? You talk about retirement to a climber. You can retire from your career, but a climber never retires from their calling, ever. The question is, are you a climber? Are you a camper? Are you a quitter? Which one are you? You're one of the three. Everybody in here. You are a quitter, a camper, or a climber. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and assume that all of you in here would say, I would like to be a climber. And if you don't, well, then we need to pray for you after the service, and you fell asleep and missed everything I just said, okay? But if you would like to be a climber, I want to give you a couple things, little tips, some things that you need to write down and you need to make sure this is what describes you. Number one, Quitting is habitual. You need to understand that. Quitting can become a habit. And some of you know this. You've quit some stuff earlier in life. Guess what? When you start quitting stuff, it gets really easy to quit some other things. You quit one thing, and it's like, well, I might as well quit this thing. I'll quit this thing. I'll quit this thing. Let me say this to you. Your kids are watching you. Your grandkids are watching you. People that you have influence over are watching you. And when you quit, they think it's okay to quit. So your quitting ability is now multiplying like a poison on other people. If you want to be first, you got to first finish. Let me put it that way. There's 2 times in life that you're most likely to quit on something. The first one is after a failure, right? You fail, you messed up. A lot of people will quit after the failure. I might as well not go in. But the second one is after a great success, right? A quitter will quit after a failure. A camper will quit after a great success and say, I'm good now. I have taken this plateau. I'll just stay there. Let me put it this way. You are not defeated when you lose. You're defeated when you quit. There's too many people who call themselves Christians that quit too early on their marriage. They quit on their education. They quit on their friends. They quit on their jobs. They quit on their boss. They quit on their leaders. Let me also say this to you. Instant success doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It takes time, effort, persistence to get where God's calling you to go. In trying times, don't stop trying, is what I'm trying to say. Hold on, hold fast, hold out. Maybe it's just one more day away. And it's something that I learned since I was a little kid. My dad told me this when I was little, and that's always been something that's been very important to me. Is that I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I know I'm not the fastest. I know I'm not the tallest. I know I'm not the most talented guy in the room, but I can guarantee you this. I will outwork you all day long. Guarantee you that. No, you will not outwork me. I can promise you that. Because I'm a climber. That's what climbers do. And here's why I say that. There are people who need you to be a climber. So I don't climb just for me. I'm climbing because God called me to do it, and there are people on the other side of my obedience that need me to climb. And if I don't climb, they're not going to receive their blessing. There are people that are waiting for you to climb, and stop quitting and get up out your campsite and start climbing. Because their blessing, their assignment is not going to come until you climb. And stop being selfish. Listen, you were not born a quitter. Nobody was born a quitter. You choose to quit. Nobody forces you to quit. You choose to quit. So you can also choose to believe God. You can choose to quit, or I can choose to believe God. I can choose to quit and look at the limitations on myself, or I can choose to believe God who has no limitations. He is unlimited. So stop being limited by the limitations that limit others. Stop it. You got to stand up and say, I don't care what category I fall in, what statistics I would fall in, anything that would limit me. I'm believing that God has something better for me. And I'm not going to let those things limit me. Because if God called me to it, He's going to equip me for it. The second thing is this. Don't settle in at the campground of comfortable. Don't get all settled in at the campground of comfortable. Did you know there's 2 negative outcomes of success? Because some of you are like, I just want to be successful. I want to be successful. Well, there's 2 negative things that can happen when you're successful. Arrogance and complacency. Arrogance and complacency. Arrogance if you start to drift into arrogance, you think you're better than other people, and you stop listening to the wisdom that you need to get to the next step. Complacency is I stop learning. I've learned enough. And so then I stop being passionate about what God has called me to do. And if a church falls into this, God will lift his hand off of that church. We will not be that church. We will not get arrogant, and we will not get complacent. Because God is doing everything here. God is the one changing hearts. God is the one changing families. God is the one making a difference. It's him. It's his Holy Spirit. And we won't get complacent. We're not going to sit back and go, well, I guess we're just sit on the plateau and just hang out and see what else God, we'll just get out. Enough is enough. Isn't enough happened already, Pastor Justin? No! As long as there's someone breathing out there who doesn't know Jesus, we will not stop. We won't. Don't settle for average. Strive for excellence. We follow the one who's perfect. I'm not trying to be perfect. I mean, you shouldn't either. You're not going to be perfect. You ain't Jesus, and you're not going to be Jesus, okay? But you can be excellent. You choose to be average, or you choose to be excellent. You choose to be below average, or you choose to be excellent. It's a choice that you make. Don't settle for average in your marriage, in your career, volunteering, parenting, in your spiritual life. Don't be average. We got enough average out there. We don't need another average. I am so sick and tired of Christians who are okay with the status quo and just blending in. If you want, listen, you say, well, Pastor Justin, I don't want to go out there and preach it. I don't want to preach to people. I don't want to give my testimony. I don't know how to talk in front of people. Well, then live with excellence. And your actions will speak a testimony to them, right? When people look around, they say, man, you're always here early. You're always picking up trash, and you're not even the janitor. You do all these extra things. You always show, you're the one everybody calls on. Right, because my God is excellent, and I'm made in his image, and I won't settle for average. I will be excellent because he is excellent. And everything I do is a reflection of him. And if I settle for average, they'll think he's average. That's the testimony. So practically, what do you do? Well, how do I be excellent? You must do things that you haven't mastered to grow. You got to do things that you're not good at if you want to grow. So many people, they get stuck in a rut, and you do the same things over and over and over again. I love it when I have a young man come up to me and say, I need you to push me. Oh, you better get ready, brother. Because if you want to grow, I'll push you with my hands. I'll kick you from like that. I'll do whatever I got to do to get you where God is calling you, right? Listen to this. If at first you do succeed, do something harder. If at first you succeed, if you're succeeding at something and it's become easy for you, do something harder. Please, the kingdom needs you to do something harder. There are people waiting on you to step into your calling, and you're settling for average. Quitters and campers complain about problems. Climbers solve them. Do you want to be a complainer or a problem solver? Which one do you want to be? It's a choice. It's a choice. Regrets look back, worry looks around, and vision looks forward. So if you're a climber, you're looking forward. We're looking up, and we're looking forward. Let me say it to you this way. If what we used to do, quotes, you see the air quotes? Y'all follow me? If what we used to do still seems big to you, you're not dreaming anymore today. You have stopped dreaming. And that's sad. You need to use your past as a launching pad, not a lawn chair. Use your past as a launching pad, not a lawn chair. There are too many people They just want to sit down on their past and just going to camp out here, just the way things always been. I guess that's the way things always going to be. Or you can look at your past and say, that might have been the way things were, but my God is bigger than that, and He has plans that are bigger than that. And He has called me to something bigger than that. And I will not sit back and rest and be average. No, He has called me to something excellent. So I'm going to get up and stand on my past and springboard off of it into what God has called me to do. Number 3, desire faith, not security. You don't need a screen. Don't get distracted. Desire faith, not security. Or somebody just got uncomfortable. You just got mad. Someone just got mad at me right now. Someone just got mad. Desire faith, not security. Why? Why do I say that? Because if you're a follower of Jesus, God is your security. You don't need to go seek out security. You got all the security you need. Is He Jehovah Jireh in your life? Or is He not? Is He your provider? Or is He not? Do you need something outside of God to make you secure? I tell you what, if He's all you need, and we were singing Honey in the Rock, you're all I need, and if that's what you really believe, you don't need to seek security. You just seek His presence. Let me tell you this. It's impossible to please God without faith. You say, well, that's really cute. I like that phrase. Oh, it's in the Bible. You just go read it, right? I mean, I didn't make that up, right? I stole it from the Bible. It's impossible to please God without faith. So let me say this. You might want to write this one down. I know you're going to love this one. If whatever you're doing doesn't require faith, it doesn't please God. If whatever you're doing in life doesn't require any faith from you, I guarantee you it doesn't please God. Why? It's impossible to please God without faith. And security. If you're someone who's always looking for security and someone starts to take away your security blanket, whatever your security blanket is, your career or money or a relationship, someone starts tugging away from it. Security oftentimes is the first step to stagnation. Because don't take my blanket away. Don't take that blanket. I have had that blanket for this many years, and if you take it away, well, no, I'll just stay here with my blanket. And God's saying, if you'll just give me that blanket, I'll show you something way better than that. And too many people go, nah, I'll just stay stagnant. I'm good. I like my blanket. It's warm and comfortable. God says, where I'm taking you, you won't need a blanket. Are you married to your security blanket? Let me say it to you this way. A life of faith requires risk. You didn't hear that. Nobody heard that. A life of faith requires risk. If you're going to have faith, you have to take some risk. You got to choose mystery over security, right? You were meant to climb. Therefore, living a safe life will not do for a climber. A climber gets bored and says, no, God's called me for more than this. Something's wrong. If they start feeling bored, a climber's like, whoa. No. I'm getting comfortable. And He didn't call me to be comfortable. He's called me for more. In fact, comfort is a red flag to a climber. Like, whoa. That wasn't God. That's me. I have slowed down. I'll give you the fourth thing, and this will help you out. Join a climbing club. Join a climbing club. You say, where do I sign up for that? Is that online? It's at capefirst.org/something climbing club or whatever? No, it doesn't exist. Okay, that was just an analogy I'm using here. Follow me, people. Join a climbing club. What do I mean? Get around some other climbers. Some of you hang around with quitters all day long. You're hanging out with campers all day long. How many climbers are in your inner circle? How many? If you're not a climber, it's okay. Get around some climbers, you'll become a climber. I can guarantee you this, and I say, man, when young guys come to me, one of the first things I ask them, they start telling me, I'm from here, I went to this school, or I work at this place. I start throwing out names of climbers if they know them. And if all of a sudden they don't know anybody, I'm like, well, who do you know? And they start naming some quitters. I'm like, well, that's your problem, right? That's part of the problem is you're around the wrong circle, right? You got to get around some people that challenge you and that push you and not let you stay down on the bottom of the mountain or not even stay on the plateau, but to keep climbing. Are you okay with people pushing you a little bit? Are you okay? Are you okay with letting somebody in your life and they tell you, stop it. Stop your whining. Are you okay with letting somebody in your life who has the card to say, get up! Get up now. Stop it. We have to go. We have a mountain to climb, and we can't do it sitting here. It's time to go. Who in your life is challenging you like that? How many climbers are in your circle? Let me tell you, here's 5 things you'll see in climbers. They have optimism. Optimistic people. Think about people you know they're really optimistic. They have endurance. They've gone through some stuff. And they're still standing and thriving. Self-motivation. They don't need a big, turn on my song or I can't come out. What? What? They don't need a pep talk, right? They don't need a coach to come in at halftime and tell me, get going. Before they have self-discipline. They get up early every morning. They get up every morning earlier than everybody else because they want to get 2 hours ahead of the competition. That's what someone who has real discipline does. At the same time, the 5th thing is they're flexible. They say, you know what, if things aren't going up our way, it's okay. We'll move over here. We'll pivot over here. We're going up the mountain. I don't think we can make it that way, but we can go this way, so they just move over. They don't quit and go backwards. They find another way because they're flexible. Climbers are always looking up. Did you know that? Because you have to look up to climb. You can't look down. Did you know this? I looked this up. 70% of all the injuries that happen in climbing are on the way down. 70%. What's that mean? When you're climbing, you're focused and you're confident because you're focused. When you come back down, if you decide, I got to go backwards again, you become careless because you're scared. Right? And that's when injuries happen, people fall. So right now, today, it's not a time to be careless. It's not a time to be comfortable. It's a time to be courageous and climb. Listen, this is for somebody in here. I don't know who it is. There is more courage in you than danger ahead of you. I need to say it again. Somebody needs to hear it. There is more courage inside of you than danger ahead of you. And the future awaits people who have the courage to create it. Do you have the courage to get up and climb and create the future? Or are you going to sit back and let the world do it and you just follow? Don't be a quitter. Don't be a camper. Be a climber. Jesus didn't quit. Jesus didn't camp. Sorry, campers. He was a climber. He climbed a hill called Calvary. He got up on that hill and he died for you. 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 He didn't have to. He could have quit. He could have stopped it just like that. He could have prolonged it, said, no, not this year. We'll just do it next year. Like, I'm not. So if Jesus didn't quit, and Jesus didn't camp, and Jesus climbed, you and me are to climb. Let me end with this. Psalm 24. Psalm 24. I read it at the start of the sermon. Some of you have already forgotten that. The question was posed, who will climb the mountain of the Lord? Who? It's an invitation. Anybody want to climb the mountain of the Lord? Who would like to climb the mountain of the Lord? And it said this, it's those with pure hands and pure hearts. Pure hands, what they do, and hearts, who they really are inside of here. Those are the ones that can climb the mountain of the Lord. And I came here to tell somebody today, God's called you to climb, and you can climb, but you're only going to climb with the pure hands and pure hearts. And the only way you're going to have pure hands and a pure heart is by the blood of Jesus washing over your life. And it's it, right? And some of you in here today, that's the reason why you're not walking in the calling that God's called for you, is you have not trusted the blood of Jesus to wash over your heart and your hands. You're still married to your past. And you think because of what you did, your hands are dirty. Well, I can't climb the mountain. My heart is dirty because of things I did in my past, things I did last night or last week or whatever it is. You think that you're not worthy of climbing the mountain. Like you can get here and hear this and be like, that's great. I see that you want to be a climber, but you don't know what I did last week. But those who can climb the mountain, who want to climb the mountain, can have pure and clean hands and clean heart by the power of the blood of Jesus Christ. And that's what you're missing today. What it takes is this. It takes you to surrender your hands and surrender your heart over to God and let him do the dirty work cleaning that off. Because it is finished. It's already finished. Stop trying to earn your right to climb up the hill. He already went up the hill and earned that right for you by paying for your sin on the cross. So now you can have clean hands and a clean heart because of what Jesus did on the cross. He paid for your access to the hill, to the mountain, for you to climb. He already paid for it. Will you accept his offering, his sacrifice, him stepping in your place? Will you accept that today?